Welcome everyone to the Tower Project. Today is Friday and you know what that means. It's Field Battle Fridays, and I am coming at you with a whopping 4 vs 4 field battle here on this nice custom battlefield. Commanding the Portuguese is myself, frontline Pavis crossbowman backed up by some loose formation pike militia, backline of conquistadors and feudal knights, 2 generals bodyguard, double conquistadors on either flank, with a dismounted Portuguese knight intermixed to aid in the cavalry fight. The ally to my left, Stonedwall Jackson, commanding the Mongols, and he is going to be facing off against Egypt, commanded by Brancaleone. I'm going to be facing off against Chef Jimmy, commanding the Imperial host, the Empire. And to our far, I guess this would be center-left position, the K-Funk, commanding Poland. And you can already tell how that fight is going to go, I'm sure, as he is facing off against armed Beretta as Hungary. And the far left, Clan Felon with the Spanish army facing off against the one, the only, the Lavernicus, playing as France. Just give you guys a nice little perusement of the battle line here. Some beautiful grassy meadows that are about to be stained with the blood of hundreds, yea, thousands of medieval soldiers. But this nice rolling, this is the kind of hillside that you'd want to roll down playfully, isn't it? A kind of grassy meadow play side, and yet here is this gloomy, dark battle with all different types of armies, and oh, we're missing some action here. Charge of the conquistadors. I sent some aid over to the Egyptian side because the Holy Roman Empire was not pushing up. I'm going to sneak through that, get another charge here onto these peasants. Perfect rear charge through the peasants, but I got to pull out quickly. The Royal Mamluks are chasing me. I got to get out of there now, and I am going to manage to get out of there. In the meanwhile, my Pavis crossbowmen have been opening up and are doing quite the number on Chef Jimmy's Pavis crossbowmen, who are in this column formation. I have no idea why they're there in that formation, but they are, and I am taking full advantage of it. So he has done some work on this unit. They're down to 51 men, but the rest of my crossbowmen are untouched. And I've fully taken control of the far right with my cavalry, so I've boxed in the Holy Roman Empire into this position. Unfortunately, Brancaleone is absolutely taking it to the Mongols here, and his Tarbediera are cutting through these Mongol infantry like nothing. And even these halberd militia are doing a great job against these dismounted heavy lancers. The Mongol infantry is, of course, not famous for its competency, is it? Let's scroll over to some of the other flanks over here. Poland is going to begin a skirmish phase against Hungary, but it is not looking good, friend. Hungary not only has the hill advantage, but these are Pavis crossbowmen facing off against Lithuanian archers who do not have armor piercing and do not have long range. So that is not going to go very well. There's a much more proper skirmishing fight going on between the Spanish Armada, his Pavis crossbowmen by Clan Felon, and Lavernicus' Aventurier. Much more proper skirmish battle going on here. And we have had some cav skirmishes that looks like maybe Clan Felon has got somewhat of the better... Oh no, those are his Jeanettes. So it looks like Lavernicus is getting the better end of that cavalry fight. And of course, if you guys are participating in these battles, or if you like what you see in these battles, please do leave me some comments in the comment section. I'd love to hear how the battle played out in your guys' mind. I know a lot of the people in this battle are viewers, so I'd love to hear what you guys have to say down in the comment section. Now, I worked in arboriculture for a little while, and this is definitely trying to figure out what species of tree this is. I'm thinking it's supposed to be a Nordic fir by the layout of the conic layout of the needles here, but it almost looks very cedar-esque, doesn't it? It almost looks like a California red cedar, but the bark isn't super red. So if anybody can help me do some species identification on the tree specification, out here in the field, I would really appreciate that. Another cavalry charge coming in through here, going to get some good hits on the Desert Archers, but a counter charge coming in from Chef Jimmy, so I got to get my general out of there before he gets killed. A rear charge coming in from the Conquistadors beautifully into the back of the Egyptian army, and that is going to wreak havoc, and we managed to break some of the halberd militia, but I got to get my Conquistadors out of there. Some really advanced cav play going on here by all parties, and yet I still have the vast majority of my cavalry sitting back here on the side, keeping them in reserve. Nafutans take out the Mongolian general, sorry, the Egyptian general. So that's a good little first step there. And I've sent over a unit of Portuguese knights to help out in the melee fight over here, because I'm seeing that the Mongols are starting to lose this battle decisively, and it needs my help. Another charge coming in by my general's bodyguard, but now the Mongol general goes down to the axes of the Tarbidiera. So the Mongols and the Holy Roman Empire are working very well together. Nice charge there by Poland, but his knights get routed. And now Beretta's going to get a rear charge into those Knights Templar. I have no idea why he would bring Knights Templar. Polish Knights are not only Polish Knights are objectively better, and they're the same price. So I'd have no idea why he would bring Knights Templar as Poland. And that unit just got totally massacred by those Royal Pandarium. Those Polish nobles just got absolutely wrecked by those Royal Bandarium. Lavernicus getting a little charge here, but it looks like he does take a couple of casualties on those Hospitaller Knights, so I'm not sure if that'll end up being worth it. But the Genets managed to rout some Knights Hospitaller, and they did manage to get a little bit of a charge in on the Aventurier, so it looks like Clan Felon is skirmishing very effectively with Lavernicus. The issue being, Hungary over here is absolutely ripping through Poland, and it is not even close, ladies and gentlemen. On a better note, my army has engaged the Holy Roman Empire, and the cavalry fight has started over here, and I'm working on getting my dismounted Portuguese knights into the cavalry fight. I've got my general's bodyguard, that was his general's bodyguard. My conquistadors holding off about 20 units of Imperial cavalry there. More like 4, but you get the idea. General's bodyguard getting a nice charge here into the rear of the feudal knights. Pike militia forming a spear wall. Halberd militia trying to hold off some feudal knights, but by and large, we're starting to get some good kills here on the Imperial line. And here, Chef Jimmy managed to get a couple of units in between my line here. However, they are not doing anything yet. So now they're going to start charging here. My backline's somewhat secured, but Egypt has completely routed the Mongols at this point. I do have some cavalry units over here that are doing a great job of just sitting around and getting shot. Here we go. Just a small lapse in micro there, but we are going to get... we are going to run into these archers and rout them and start heading back towards the field there. So a very short micro mistake by myself, but we are going to be able to capitalize on that cavalry. Now I was able to get a beautiful charge here with this general's bodyguard into this feudal knight, and we managed to take down the Imperial general. He falls to the sword of the conquistadors. And so even though the cavalry fight is somewhat going in the favor of the Holy Roman Empire, we've managed to inflict a lot of damage on the rest of his army, and have almost completely routed his infantry at this point. Not to mention the fact we've already taken out most of Egypt with my cavalry play, taken out his entire backline of archers, doing some great work on his front line. And so at this point, we've almost taken out both Holy Roman Empire and Egypt. So even though I'm getting a moral victory on the far right flank of, from my perspective, Hungary is absolutely spanking Poland. I mean, it is just a complete desecration of the Polish army there. Not even close. And Clan Felon is trying his best, but Lavernicus is a very, very good player. I know Clan Felon is too. So they're just kind of going back and forth trading. But very soon Hungary is going to be able to come over and 2v1 Spain. And there's not much you can do in a field battle when you get 2v1'd. I mean, if it's by two good players, very seldomly are you going to be able to handle the level of micro that it would take to defend that. So he does get a nice charge here onto some of my feudal knights, But we managed to box in a lot of his cavalry as he was going after my Pavis crossbowmen. And apparently only a military genius can bring us victory from this disgrace. Polish general goes down there to Hungary, and I think that's going to be GG to Poland there. I think his army is going to be headed off the field very shortly. Half of my army gone at this point, getting some cavalry in. I'm trying to support my Pavis crossbowmen as we continue to rout off some Egyptian cavalry that came in to help there. And now the Egyptian army is starting to interfere quite a bit with the battle. And so now I'm really stuck in a 2v1 scenario here, just like I was talking about. Just trying to use my pike militia to screen off the Egyptian army as best as I can. And I lost most of my cavalry to the Holy Roman Empire's cavalry, so even though it was a pretty even trade on the cavalry front, and we managed to rout a bunch of his knights back here, actually, back here, I have still lost the majority of my cavalry. I have this general's bodyguard, I have my actual general's bodyguard, and I do not think I have any other cavalry alive at this point. Pike militia rout, but I mean, they cost 150 gold. Whoop-de-doo. All they were there to do was buy me time to deal with the other armies. Flipping back over here, Spain and Lavernicus are starting to initiate the battle in general, but the Spanish infantry is looking pretty lackluster. He brought a lot of tercio pikemen and not a lot of proper dismount, and not a lot of proper heavy infantry. And Hungary is coming over to support. Continuing to fly back over to this side here. I've basically managed to take out the Holy Roman Empire in its entirety here. He has a couple of straggling units back there. And my general's bodyguard is down to 4 men. I can only see 3 here, though. Is there a 4th? Oh, there he is. He's lacking behind. He's like, I don't want to die to these desert archers. And so I'm trying to rout those desert archers, but I don't quite break them. And there's still a good couple of units here from Egypt. I haven't completely dealt with Egypt yet. But the Holy Roman Empire at this point is basically out of the game. Hungary, however, is rushing over here. It looks like he's kind of splitting his army, sending some to deal with Spain and some to deal with me. And that is the luxury he has since he absolutely dominated at the center here, and since Egypt absolutely dominated the Mongols. And so they won the 2 center battles, and the only place we've even had any kind of success in this battle is at the far right. Clan Felon, like I said, trading very evenly with Lavernicus. But now he's got to deal with the Hungarian units as well. His units are outflanked, and I think we know what the fate of that battle is going to be at this point. So over here, more pike militia getting killed. But I used that time to reposition my army. He's got some desert archers up here I've got to go deal with, but they're not that big of a threat. There's only a handful of them left.
Our allies' general lies dead, slain.
But there goes the Spanish general, and that is going to spell doom for Clan Felon. Let's go watch that battle a little bit more while we have a lull in my fighting over here on the left flank. So that Conquistador unit is broken. This Conquistador unit is broken. The entire Spanish line is wavering. And we have quite the late period pike battle here, don't we? We have the French pikemen and the Spanish pikemen. Tercio pikemen are slightly better than the French pikemen, but there's also heavy infantry intermixed with the French pikemen. And the Spanish line is wavering because they're flanked in the back. Royal Bandarian getting a royal charge into the back of these feudal knights, and the Spanish line is broken. Decisively broken on the far left.
Allies have fled the field like cowards. We must look to our own men now.
And just like that, the Spanish army is off the field. The Polish army is off the field. The Mongol army is off the field. The only player that is left for our team is myself, and the battle looks hopeless. 71% of our enemies are killed, and almost 90% of our own. Now, I did manage, while we were flying over, to get a nice cavalry charge with my general's bodyguard and took out a good chunk of these feudal knights here. Probably about half of their strength. But that's just a drop in the bucket. I mean, you look and see all of the stuff that they have left here. And all that my team has left is this. None of my allies are still on the field, so none of them can lend help. They were completely routed. They can't send any straggler units over here. The only faction that has any life left in it is Portugal, commanded by myself. But against the odds that are being sent against me, there is really just not much I can do. I mean, we can try to put up a heroic last stand, but there's just no way I'm going to be able to take out essentially the entire army of Clan Felon. I mean, he lost almost nothing to Poland. And probably a good 3/5 of Lavernicus' army is still alive. Not to mention these straggler units from Egypt and one from the Holy Roman Empire. So there's a few desert archers. There's a unit or two of Tarbediero left. Spear militia, halberd. There's a decent amount of units left from Egypt. And one left from the Holy Roman Empire. But 7 generals bodyguard. And the 3 bodyguards of my actual general is not going to be enough cavalry to deal with all of this cavalry here by Clan Felon. Not to mention Lavernicus' general that is still alive. And so doom is on the horizon. Defeat seems certain. But what will be the fate of the Portuguese army? It is yet to be decided. And so I'm taking this time to regroup. And I'm going to try to get some sneaky shots off here onto the Royal Bandarium with my Pavis crossbowmen. But this is actually a bad move in hindsight, because my infantry is so far away from my Pavis crossbowmen. I ran them up to try to get some shots off on this line of Hungarian cavalry, but Lavernicus is going to take excellent advantage of that, and he's going to charge. My cavalry going to countercharge, but this is his generals, and his general just hacks down 2 of my bodyguards right there. That was not cool. His general just swung twice, and each swing hacked down a general's bodyguard. I do manage to get a couple of Lavernicus' men, but that was a good trade for him. And I only managed to kill a handful of Hungarian cavalry with those crossbow shots. I definitely felt like that should have killed more. But Hungary has a vast superiority over me with these Pavis crossbowmen. And I do not have the cavalry to kill them all. So I'm just again trying to reposition, trying to solidify myself. However, it is complete vanity, because now I have the Egyptian army. There's 2 bodyguards left, no general though. Now I have the Egyptian army that is wisely pushing up and around my flank. So the attacking team, not the attacking team, the other team is working very, very well together, while my team was not able to do very much teamwork. So unfortunately, it looks like the fate is kind of sealed in this battle. I mean, just look at the balance of power. 92% killed to 74%. I mean, it would be an absolute miracle if we could pull this off. An absolute miracle. I mean, just look at all the troops they still have left. So my Pavis crossbowmen going to load up, but there's an advanced cavalry charge by the Royal Bandarium, and I'd rather my Pavis crossbowmen take that charge and get my infantry in to counter that. And I do manage to get a good infantry charge, and we actually kind of massacre those Hungarian cavalry. So I don't know that that was worth it by Felon, because now he's almost out of cavalry. Yeah, I mean, I lost some Pavis crossbowmen, but what are Pavis crossbowmen? And we actually managed to take down the Hungarian general. And my pikemen forming the pike formation there are actually doing quite some good work on these feudal knights. Look at that. He just stabbed through 2 of them right there. So a heroic stand by the pike militia. General's bodyguard getting a massively devastating charge here. And we're starting to clean up the Egyptian army. And now Lavernicus' general coming back, but my flank breaks here. The pike militia rout. Hungary breaks through. The conquistadors are doing their best to hold, but they're so outnumbered. You can't blame them if they break, and there they go. They're fighting to the death.
Praise the Almighty.
But finally, we break through the Egyptian army. Those desert archers lasted a lot longer than I would have expected them to. And now Lavernicus' general and my general were about to exchange blows, but alas, they both got out of there. And now I've got some infantry support to help me try to take down Lavernicus' general. And I believe no, my other cavalry unit is completely dead at this point. Lavernicus is going to get his general out of there. The Royal Bandarium do not get a good charge. Though all 3 of them are still going to get out of there alive. And so at this point, I see the cavalry coming, so the best thing you can do when you see cavalry coming is just to run in the opposite direction, because it kind of bugs out their charge. So you can see I avoided what would have been a devastating cavalry charge. We take out those Royal Bandarium. And I'm trying to figure out what to do with my general. As this battle is about to wind up, the general, seeing an open target, he's going to rally his last 2 bodyguards and charge into these French chivalric knights, and boom! They completely devastate that entire unit of chivalric knights. He's going to try to get himself out of there. But crossbow fired. I tried to slow it down, but the stupid cutscene wouldn't let me slow it down. Anyway, my general got wrecked by the Pavis crossbowmen. And that is basically going to spell the end of this game. So even though we put up a heroic last stand, the last of the conquistadors charging in, and they actually kind of wreck a couple of those Croat axemen. So we put up a heroic last stand, but alas, Lavernicus and armed Beretta do an excellent job of finishing the battle off and taking a victory for their team. So we do get a good number of kills, but alas, it was not enough. And armed Beretta getting 1,000, getting 14, almost 1,500 kills if you count all the people he captured. I'm getting just a little bit over 1,600, so armed Beretta actually did much better than I did. He took half as many casualties and killed almost as many men as I did. So amazing job by armed Beretta there. Clan Felon doing a pretty good job trading with Lavernicus. Lavernicus doing very well. Armed Brancaleone doing very well. And unfortunately, the Mongols and the Poles did not pull their weight super well in that battle. I'm sure they tried very hard and fought bravely, but perhaps not well, but bravely. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me for this battle. If you haven't, please make sure to subscribe as we continue to put out more and more content just like this. I can't thank you guys enough for all the early support I'm getting. Every day the channel keeps growing a little bit more. And I can't wait until this thing starts to be big and we start really breathing some life back into the Medieval 2 community. So thank you guys so much for your support. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, which will be Siege Saturday. And boy, do I have a treat for you. So be sure you tune in tomorrow for Siege Saturday. I'll see you guys then. Stay tuned to the Tower Project.